What's up, guys? It's me Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Miguel Berchelt versus Oscar Valdez, which would be a 12-rounder for the WBC Super-Featherweight World Championship. And this will be Saturday, February 20th, from the MGM Grand Conference Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this fight is going to be broadcasted on ESPN, ESPN Plus, or on the ESPN app. And to get into both fighters, Miguel Berchelt, with a record of 37 wins, 1 defeat, with 33 wins coming by way of knockout. He's fighting out of Mexico, and is currently ranked number 1 by BoxRec, and is the current WBC Super-Featherweight World Champion. He won the interim WBO Super-Featherweight World title against George Joup, winning via knockout. Then he took on Saria Tatakum and won via knockout as well, defending that interim WBO title. Then he took on Francisco Vargas and won the WBC Super-Featherweight World title instead of that interim WBO title. He captured that WBC belt. And then he defended that title against against Takashi Miura. Then he defended that title a few more times against Maxwell Awuku. He then did rematch Francisco Vargas and win. Then he took on Jonathan Victor Barros, then beat Miguel Roman and Jason Sosa. And in his last fight, he took on Elizar Valenzuela in Mexico. I did make a video on that fight. I would appreciate it if you guys could go check that one out and give it a like. But in that fight, it was a no decision after 6 rounds, even though Miguel Berchelt battered Valenzuela and won a dominant knockout win. He still was able to... the Mexican Commission did call it off to a no contest due to COVID-19 restrictions, and they weren't really able to host an event without these guidelines, and they did not follow those guidelines, therefore it was a no contest. But I don't really think it should be a no contest. I just think they should get punished, the commission, and as opposed to these fighters not getting their respective victories from training in camp for weeks and little months and waiting for a fight. And I believe that fight took place in August, if I'm mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But Miguel Berchelt does have one defeat. Most of his fans, or even just boxing fans in general, really don't know who that fighter was, including myself. He took on Luis Eduardo Flores in 2014, and he did lose by knockout in the first round in that fight. He got clipped by a beautiful right hand, got sent to the canvas, and the referee stopped the fight. But to get into his opponent, Oscar Valdez, he has a record of 28 wins, no defeats, with 22 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 2 by BoxRec, so we have a number 2 versus number 1 situation here. The best versus the best in the super featherweight division. Although I do not really agree with that, I do think it's definitely plausible. But Oscar Valdez is the former WBO Featherweight World Champion. He won via knockout over Matias Ruedo for the vacant WBO Featherweight World title. Then he defended that title against Hiroshi Osawa, sorry if I'm saying his name incorrectly. He also beat top name Miguel Mariaga and Genesis Cerviana, and he also beat former world champion Scott Quigg. And then he also took on Carmine Thomason and Jason Velez, which was in his last fight. He also took on Adam Lopez as well, and Jason Sanchez, just as a reminder. Both of these guys have stacked resumes. They're from Mexico, and I do expect a war. Both are very good pressure fighters, have good power, great speed, and I'm not too sure about their chins, as Miguel Berchelt's only defeat is by first-round knockout, and Oscar Valdez has been dropped a couple times. And speaking of Valdez's most recent fights, he recently moved up to 130, where he took on Jason Velez and Adam Lopez. And in those 2 fights, he did impress against Jason Velez, as he was able to get the stoppage win, and I believe that fight was in July. But against Adam Lopez, he was arguably down on the scorecards. He got dropped early on, and he just didn't look like himself at 126. But he was able to get that comeback win versus Jason Velez, which I do appreciate from him. But this fight I'm actually very excited for. I expect a war, and no matter who wins, it's going to be a tremendous fight. When you see 2 Mexican fighters going at it for the WBC title, it's always great. Both fighters have power, both have speed, and both are tremendous pressure fighters in their respective weight classes. While Valdez is a natural 126-pounder, Berchelt is a huge fighter for 130. This is the thing here. I think Valdez, the only chance he really has against Berchelt is to knock him out. I think Berchelt will not let Valdez breathe, just like he did to Jason Sosa, and I think Valdez will get dropped in this fight, almost guaranteed. Berchelt definitely can get dropped in this fight, but Valdez will most definitely go down. If he's going down against Adam Lopez and a few other fighters, then Berchelt, with that rocket of a right hand, will definitely drop him. Berchelt, like I was saying earlier, and throughout this video, he has tremendous power, and although his chin might lack, just based off that knockout loss in 2014, I definitely think his chin has grown, and just based off of the experience fighter he's been facing. He's been facing so much better competition since then. And that fight was in Mexico, and it was before anyone really knew who Miguel Berchelt was. And I believe he was only 20-0 at the time. Very low experience level, hasn't fought anyone, but now he's a current world champion, and he's defended that title plenty of times with plenty of tremendous knockouts along the way. But Oscar Valdez, obviously a former world champion, now trying to be a two-weight world champion at 126 and 130. And he definitely can do this. As I heard from his press conferences, online media calls, he's been saying that he wants to box Miguel Berchelt, which is a very smart move because Berchelt, as I was saying before, he's a pure pressure fighter, but Valdez could definitely end his title reign with a beautiful boxing dominant performance. I could definitely see Valdez boxing from the outside, landing some good shots, and making Berchelt look like an amateur. But my initial pick is that Miguel Berchelt will walk down and batter Valdez in the corner and on the ropes with his tremendous pressure fighting, his long arms, big stature, and tremendous power. So right now I have Miguel Berchelt winning via knockout in the 10th round through the 12th round. I could definitely see it happening before, possibly in the 8th or 9th, but from what I'm seeing in their training camps, other highlight videos, I definitely think Berchelt will break down Oscar Valdez throughout the whole fight and get a knockout win in the 10th round in a very good and close fight. So overall, my final prediction is that Miguel Berchelt gets a knockout win in the 10th through 12th rounds over Oscar Valdez to defend his WBC Super-Featherweight world title. And yeah, that's really it. MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.